My laptop is? Okay, am I in? Ooh. Okay, I'm out of the other one. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
My laptop is? Okay, can you hear me? You can hear me?
Yes.
No. Yes?
Yes.
I can't hear anything.
You cannot hear me? I love technology.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
My laptop is? Okay, can you hear me? You can hear me?
Yes.
No. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. I can't hear anything. Because it says my speaker is not working. And I can't hear any of you.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So I don't think you can hear me. I will start the presentation.
Okay. Let's see. Let's try to wait for a couple more people to join in. Okay, we're just going to wait for a few more people who are coming in now, and then we're going to start. We'll give it a couple more minutes. Perfect. If you could all mute your microphones as soon as you come in, that would be amazing. Perfect. Is everyone muted? Okay. So we're going to start. This presentation is brought to you by AIESEC. We are the largest youth-run organization in the world, and we are the local branch at AIESEC in Edinburgh. And I am the local committee president. So I'm the head branch of AIESEC UK in Edinburgh. First of all, welcome everyone. And hopefully you will all have a pen and paper in hand ready for later on in the session. So you have all joined today to see why Maslow's pyramid is not true. But before we get into that, let's take a look around. We're all students. We're all studying, and hopefully hard. But why? Well, because we want to be successful. But what does that really mean? We've been fed this idea that employability is the ultimate measure of success. So universities use this as a way to sort of prove their own prestige. Without going any further, the University of Edinburgh states in its online website that 94% of all University of Edinburgh graduates either find a job or go into postgraduate programs within 6 months of graduation, which essentially sounds like a good thing, right? Sure, students get jobs. But studies also show that 1/3 of current graduates are very often overqualified for their jobs, meaning that often students are misled into jobs that are well below their skill level, resulting in a frustrated encounter with reality. So is success really everything? In line with this idea that there's a misled perception of success, we find ourselves with the concept that Maslow's hierarchy of needs and other theories that we believe to be true might not be anymore, as our contexts are far from what they were. To begin with, we'll explain what Maslow's hierarchy of needs actually is. Most of you have probably already heard about it, but it's based on the idea that you can't move a level up if you haven't fulfilled that stage. So you will never have self-actualization unless your esteem, your love and belonging, your safety, and your psychological needs are met. So this theory has essentially been around for some time, and most of you probably have heard about it. In essence, it should work, but they might not be the best way forward in today's world. According to an academic paper written by Bridwell and Waba-Lawrence, called Maslow Reconsidered, Maslow's theory proves to have little empirical data that backs it up, which ends up being that the main problem with this theory isn't the fact that it's old, but rather the fact that the original hierarchy doesn't account that needs tend to change in terms of situation. The problem with this is that it presents the pyramid as a sequential series of steps, whereas nowadays, it would be more like a circle, with some people willing to sacrifice short-term financial security in order to potentially gain self-actualization, which, if you looked at Maslow's pyramid, would never be possible. We also find moments where people no longer need people might be superseding their needs for a family or potentially settling down, and because that's no longer what they need, which, given the constant change in context, makes sense. However, despite this constant change in context, meaning that everything is sort of circular and fluid, there is one stable variable in this equation, and that's you. Up until this point in our lives, we have been led by our parents, by our teachers, and possibly by our friends. But we're getting close to an age where we must lead others. And as we said before, it's not entirely up to theories to help us to do this, but rather to the individual understanding their own leadership style. So what we're here today as a youth-run organization to do is to find out what type of leader you are. So if you have your pen and paper handy, we can start to move forward with this. And you're going to be answering a series of questions. You can take some time to answer. And then by the end, we'll have some results. So the first question is, if there is a serious conflict within my team, 1, I remind everyone that we have goals to meet. 2, I bring my people together so that we can talk it through. 3, I let them work by themselves so that they don't have to bother one another. So choose one of the answers and write it down. Make sure you note down the number. The next question is, some of my people are highly skilled and motivated. They, 1, are subject to the same workplace strategies and processes as everyone else. 2, often hold creative planning sessions with me. Or 3, can be set free to weave their magic. We'll give you some time to think about this one. Make sure you're keeping track of the numbers that you're putting down. Perfect. So next question is, the best way for me to ensure that my team meets its goals is to 1, lead from the front, 2, encourage participation from everyone, or 3, delegate often and widely. Make sure you're keeping tracks of the numbers and not the answers. Perfect. Next up is, I need to develop and apply a new social media strategy. So I, 1, draw up the strategy myself and then sell it to the team. 2, tell my team what the challenge is and ask for suggestions on how to meet it. Or 3, hand over the project to my team members and ask them to come back with a plan. Next question is, I like to 1, make a decision, but not until I have told the team my rationale. 2, make a decision, but not until my team has had input. And 3, let my team make the decisions. Next question is, I notice that a member of my team is demotivated. So I closely manage each of their tasks to ensure that they are following procedures correctly. 2, make an extra effort to ensure that they're involved in team discussions. Or 3, back off as they probably need some space. Finally, you're going to add up your points. So remember that we told you to keep track after each answer, whether it was a 1, a 2, and a 3. And depending on those points, you will have a different leadership style. So if you have from 6 to 10 points, you have an authoritarian or autocratic leadership style. From 11 to 13, you have a democratic or participative style. And if you have from 14 to 18, you have a delegating or laissez-faire leadership style. We will now go into a little bit more detail as to what each of these mean. We're going to give you some time to add up your points. If you had between 6 and 10 points, you have an authoritarian, autocratic leadership style, which works well in times of crisis as there are fast respondents and most of the decision making is kept in the head. It works in situations where hands-on management is required. But you also have to keep in mind, as an authoritarian and autocratic leader, that you're likely to demoralize, demotivate, and aggravate people if you use it all the time. It is also hard to stand back from detail and take a wider strategic view. And it might translate into high absenteeism and turnover rate. The secondary leadership style is if you got points between 11 and 15. So the democratic participative leadership style. This style is likely to gain creative input and fresh ideas as more people can participate. It likely acknowledges people that can have valuable insight. And it also has team members that can have healthy debates with one another. In this leadership style, communication and openness is a priority, and therefore, they're very good qualities that they have, these leaders. But they must also bear in mind that they are required to manage different opinions in the team, that given the fact that they're listening to everyone's opinions, processes could be dangerously slow if team members take part in every decision. So this leadership style might not be ideal for a time where quick crisis management might need to happen, as many voices might be heard rather than one single person decided. The next leadership and final leadership style is the delegating or the laissez-faire. This leadership style empowers the team with minimum involvement by placing most of the confidence in the team rather than the leader. It works well when deadlines are flexible and processes are simple. However, laissez-faire leaders must bear in mind that the leader will still be held accountable for outcome. So despite most of the work and thought process behind the projects with the laissez-faire leadership style, the leader will still be accountable for the work of the team. And another problem that you must keep in mind if this is your leadership style is that you might collapse into chaos if team members have low skills or poor motivation. So 1930, what does this mean? The test that you've just done was one from 1930. And what I'm trying to get with this is that leadership has always been at our core. And why should you care about this? Well, because right now, as youth, we are the segment in society who has been most affected by COVID. Most of job losses have happened to our group. Whereas on average, the percentage of job losses due to COVID has been 3 to 4%. Within the 18 to 24-year-old groups, it has been up to 9%. That means 3 times more jobs have been lost post-COVID to the youth than to any other group. And what we want to say with this, as AIESEC, is that despite the bleakness of our current reality, we want you to know that you can still continue to develop with us. We will still support you and push for your development as a youth. which is what we do. It's a matter of perspective, as we've been saying throughout this presentation, and it's a matter of changing context. So you mustn't rely on theories and in other previous experiences that people might have told you, but you yourself must place the importance on what you do. We have examples here of two of our AIESEC alumni who have gone after amazing things, and they've moved on to future events. As for example, this is Konstantina, and she currently works at LinkedIn. And then we have Fadel, who has very recently written a book. So these are just some examples of what great leaders can do, and by empowering youth, this is what we do. So hopefully we will see you on the 9th of October in our panel discussion where we talk about youth and how we are the new normal. Thank you so much for tuning in today. This is from AIESEC. If you want to find out more about us, we have just finished recruitment, so unfortunately you won't be able to be part of the team, but feel free to check out our website at aiesec.org, in which you can find our internship opportunities and volunteer experiences that we offer. Thank you so much for tuning in to this future conference. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and see you on the 9th of October.